Okay, this is the second video for my review of the CasaCam wireless video security system that has two cameras and a 7-inch monitor. I discussed and showed you the cameras in the first video, and I'm also reviewed this CasaCam Spotlight camera, and both of these cameras are compatible with the monitor that is included in this system. And now I'm going to tell you all about the monitor. Okay, so let's look at this monitor. This monitor has a nice weight to it, feels good. On the back, there's a kickstand. I like that, so it'll rest on your desk at an angle, so you can, if you're sitting in your chair, you can view it. My only concern about this kickstand is that it's a little flimsy, and if you were to put too much pressure in the wrong direction, it could break off, but if you're careful, I think it'll just be fine. Okay? On the back, there is your power inlet, and then this is a for your internet Ethernet cable that would hook to your router. There's a speaker, and there is a battery cover. I guess you can replace the battery. It looks like it's locked down with a couple of screws. And there are a couple of rubber feet on here so it won't slip when you have it standing on that little pop-out kickstand. There's also on the back two little pop-up antenna. And that is to, I guess, improve reception to the cameras. Okay? On the side of the camera, there's an SD card slot, and they do provide you a SD card that has 8 gigabytes of memory. That's enough to get you started. You'd probably want to go with a little higher memory. The owner's manual says that you can use up to 128 gigabytes. I've seen reviews that say that you can use a much higher amount. I would need to check with the manufacturer before I did. There's two little buttons here. This is your volume up and volume down button. And then there's this third little button in the middle, and that is your talk button. So if you wanted to talk to the camera, you would press this in and continue holding it while you talk. You would have to release to listen. So that's the basics of the monitor. Now this is a touch screen monitor. Oh, and here's your power button in the middle on the top. And you hold it down for a few seconds until the logo comes up, of CasaCam logo. Okay. And I have 3 cameras hooked up here, so this is a split screen. It can hold up to 4 cameras. This bottom black section is for a 4th camera. If you had 2 cameras, it would be divided in half. If you have 3 or more, it's divided into 4. And it's touch screen. It's pretty responsive. You just touch the camera you want, and you can see, I don't know if it's washed out by the light here, it happens to be looking at a hummingbird feeder. Anyway, this camera has lots of little icons around it, and I'm going to explain each one of those to you, and I hope you can see it. In the top left is a little blue, that is your power, not power, but your receiver from the camera, and it lets you know your signal strength. The next little icon, it's a blue, looks like a little blue SD card. That lets you know that an SD card is present and memory is still available. If it was red, the memory card would be full. And next to that, and it's not appearing right now, but I'll show it to you anyway, but next to that would be a little blue icon with a plus symbol in it. That lets you know that you have a new recording to be viewed. That was from when the motion sensor picked up a new recording, it would let you know. And the next icon, it's a little red flashing icon. I don't know if you can see it. And that is looks like a little camera. That lets you know that recording is in progress. And you can touch that. It'll turn blue, and that you have stopped the recording. So you can turn on and off recording by touching that little camera icon, and when it turns red and flashing, it is blue. And by the way, that other little icon just popped up that has new recording, that little blue sensor in the middle. Okay, the next icon that's red, that is for your internet connection. Now, I do not have internet connected at this time, so that icon is red. If you had your Ethernet cable connected to your router, it would be yellow, and it would be green if you were actually hooked up to the internet. But I am not using the internet at the moment, so I'm not even going to discuss the internet connection today. Now, the next icon is a little light bulb icon. I don't know if you can see it. The screen is probably a little washed out in this daylight. Let me see if I can adjust that. Okay. Right here is a little, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like a little light bulb. That light bulb icon lets you control the spotlight on this camera. This camera has a spotlight on it. On the other camera system does not have a spotlight. It is just night vision only, and so you can control the light. You can turn it on and off at will with that little button. And then the next icon are two little arrows that are in a continuous loop, and that's letting you know that the memory card is set to be overwritten when it gets full. And then the next icon is just a little icon of a camera, and it has a number on it, and that lets you know what camera you're viewing. And then in the top right, that little icon is your battery indicator, and when it gets low, it will flash red. While it's charging, it is flashing blue. And then as you come down to the center, there's a little plus icon. I don't know if you can see it. And that will give you can zoom in. And what it does is it brings up the 5 little quadrants. And I don't know if you can see it. And top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and center. And if you touch one, it will zoom in 2 times. Now that is only available if you have the camera set to low resolution. You have an option for low or high resolution, and this will only work in low resolution. It will not work in high resolution. And then you just tap this little icon again, and it goes back to the normal viewing. Then on the bottom, you have there's a little red indicator, and that is letting you know that the volume is muted. I have the volume turned all the way down because I didn't want to get feedback from the camera. If I start to turn the volume up, there is a volume display button. It sort of comes up in the center of the screen. And I'm turning it down not to get feedback. Okay, so when it's all the way down, it turns red. In the center is your date timestamp, and that is set to military time only. There's no other option. And then this little blue icon that's got 4 little squares, and one is blacked out, that's just letting me know that I have 3 cameras hooked up. And then this little red icon here, I call it a running man icon. That's for your motion sensing, and if you tap it, it turns blue, and I've just turned off my motion sensing recording. And if you tap it again, it turns red, and your motion sensing recording is on. Okay, and then this little icon right here is your pop-out menu bar, and there's different menu options on here. The top one is a light source, and that is, the light source is specifically for this spotlight camera. It will not work with the other camera because it doesn't have a light. All right? So this camera light setting, you have an option for duration, and you can have it turned off. You can have 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 10 minutes. And that is the duration of how long the light will be on once it has picked up motion. And you can set that for each camera that you have with the spotlight on it. And then you have a timer. And you can choose, if you want that light to come on at a certain time of day, you would choose when you want it on and when you want it off. And you can also choose the day of the week that you'd like to have that come on or off. And then you have a dimmer. And you can choose between 100%, 75%, 50%, or 25%. And that is the brightness of the light itself. And again, each one of those is for each camera for each spotlight camera that you have. And some people, they do sell this system with 2 cameras, and so if you have that system, that's how you work that. Now you push the home button. Let's get back to the menu bar. The next is your alarm setting. Now this alarm setting is just an audible tone that you can set when motion is detected. It will give you an audible alert. This audible alert is independent from the volume that I was telling you about here. This volume can be turned all the way down. You will still get your audible alert, and you can use the plus or negative signs to set it. Okay? And next is your brightness level. Your brightness level is also set with your negative and positive touch icons, and that is the brightness of each camera. So if you want the brightness if you want to set it a little darker or lighter, you go to the particular camera, view the camera, and then touch the brightness, and that is for each individual camera. Next is your general settings, and you have 6 menu options here. The first is your camera setup. And the camera setup first is a pairing option, and that you would use that if you got a new camera or one of your old cameras got unpaired. You would go into that menu to pair your camera. The next is your on-off button. When you touch that, it brings up each individual camera, and you can choose to turn a camera on or off. And it doesn't really turn the camera off, it just turns it disconnects it from being viewed on the monitor, but it does not actually turn the camera off. Next is your resolution. And you have each individual camera, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you have a choice of low or high resolution. And then go back. The next is your recording setup. Your recording setup, you can go into duration. Now this is what they call a recording period after the last motion event. So if your camera picks up an event, you can choose 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or 1 minute that it will record. Now let me say, this is a little confusing to me, because I've noticed what happens is during an event, and I have mine set at 30 seconds, and usually it will record 30 seconds before the event, and then you'll get your event, and if there is no other event occurring, it records for a full 10 minutes after that. So to me that is a little excessive and seems like a waste of your memory card. So this particular menu item is a little confusing to me, but it does record. Then next is your schedule recording. Now, if you have a camera that you want to record only at a certain day of the week and a certain time of day, you go into modify, you use this modify button, and it brings up a start time, an end time, and then you choose your day of the week, and then you would save it. And you can also delete it whenever you're ready. Now, that's a nice feature. And then the next is your file overwrite, and that's for your memory card. And you can choose to have your memory card overwrite as it gets full, or no. If you choose no, when the memory card gets full, there'll be no more recording on the memory card, it'll just be full. If you choose to overwrite, it means that it will erase everything that has previously been on the card and start over again. So if you don't have anything that you need to save, then that's fine. What I think would be a really nice option that this does not have, like your dash cams, they have a save button.